Wave 5 of the Booster Course Pass has finally been announced, and just like with the previous waves, there's a lot worth talking about here, so like usual, I'm going to give my thoughts on each track in their cup order. Starting with Athens Dash. Wow, I'm not really used to being so hyped up for the city tracks, but I'd be lying if I said this one didn't look absolutely gorgeous. This track really spices up the city formula by being focused more on the ancient architecture itself rather than the actual residential area, and I am all here for the variety. It was already pretty fun in Tour from what I played of it, but this remake just takes things to a whole other level visually. So for once, a Cup Starter City track is actually one of my most highly anticipated tracks for the wave. Daisy Cruiser also looks really good in this game. I'm really happy that this one's finally getting its big console return after playing ping pong on the handheld systems for a while there. The Lifesaver Goombas in the pool at the beginning is a really neat touch to make that section riskier, and it's actually something I predicted a few months back. Another cool change they made is that there's actual passengers in the dining area now, which makes that section feel quite a bit more lively. I just pray this doesn't mean that the tables are stationary now, because that would really suck. One of my friends told me they could make out the tables moving in the trailer, and I couldn't see it myself, but I really hope that's the case. But yeah, this is one of my all-time Double Dash favorites, so finally seeing it get confirmed is really nice. And then we move on to... What? What the heck is Moonview Highway doing here? Out of all the curveball picks we've gotten so far, this one just might be the most surprising out of all of them. Assuming the pass still ends on Wii Rainbow Road, this could very well be a straight up breach of the prefix leak, which is something that literally no one saw coming. But is this curveball for the best? I'm sorry to say it, I was not the biggest fan of the original track back in Wii, and it doesn't look like this remake does a good job of playing to the track's strengths. The traffic seems to move slower than molasses now, and many of the cars look puny and really easy to avoid. I'm also not a huge fan of how the city section looks so visually similar to New York Minute, but to this track's credit, I think the forest part looks really nice. It's also cool how they kept the bomb cars, and the remix sounds amazing, but like, duh, it's Moonview Highway in Mario Kart 8, of course it's gonna sound amazing. And even though I wouldn't call myself a fan of Moonview Highway, if it's true that this track is replacing Mushroom Bridge from Double Dash, then the switcheroo was still probably for the best. Squeaky-Clean Sprint I'm pretty mixed on based on what's been shown off. On the one hand, there's a lot of really creative and unique ideas at play here, but on the other hand, of what we've seen this track, if that's all there is to it, then it's basically just a square with a 150cc lap completion time under 40 seconds. It should still be fun, I just really wish it had more meat on its bones to really help such a creative track concept feel fully realized. LA Laps looks like it's going to be well worth the wait after it was delayed from Wave 4. The biggest change here is the track now being set in the daytime rather than at sunset, which kinda sounds lame at first glance, but I think it's a fine change for a few reasons. Firstly, I don't think LA is going to have a lot of trouble standing out from the other city tracks due to having entire laps dedicated to a beach and an oil field. Secondly, I think this change makes sense considering Sunset Wilds comes directly after this chronologically, so it adds up that they didn't want to steal from that track's thunder by keeping LA's sunset. But little did we know that Sunset Wilds doesn't need any other track's help being ruined, because apparently it is more than capable of doing that itself, but we'll get there in a minute. Back to LA, they added that one half pipe everyone was hoping for, so that's cool. And I really like what they did with the music here. It actually sounds pretty nice, as opposed to what I consider to be a borderline incoherent mess with the original song. But music is extremely subjective, so obviously no offense to anyone who did enjoy the original song. In fact, you know what? Let me know down below what you think of the original song and the remix, because I'm pretty interested to see what the consensus is. They also added item rings for the glider section of LA2, which is a really welcome change that gives the glider a bit more relevance to the layout. Anyways, yeah, this track looks like a vibe and I can't wait to play it in a few days. Alright, Sunset Wilds time. Let's start out with a positive. Visually, I think the track looks phenomenal. For the first lap, because based on what's been shown off so far, there is zero evidence that the sky changes color over the course of the race, which is like the track's entire identity. It's called Sunset Wilds because the sun is in the process of setting. Take that really cool and unique gimmick away, and you're left with a short nothing burger of yet another GBA track, except this time the layout's way flatter than the other ones. Oh wait, my bad, except for the 2 ramps near the end that are only there to sell the impact of the setting sun, except that doesn't happen anymore, so they're totally pointless. Now to be fair, there is a chance that the sun actually does still set and they just decide not to show it in the trailer for whatever reason. On the off chance that is the case, then yeah, I'd say I'm pretty satisfied with this remake overall. But we have no real reason to believe that's true when we see the racers cross the finish line and the sky stays the exact same. This is honestly way worse than all the small nerfs they did to Coconut Mall over the years, because at the end of the day, Coconut Mall is still a mall. But can you really say Sunset Wilds is still a sunset? So yeah, I'm kinda butthurt on this one, but this comes from a place of love because I was actually looking forward to this one quite a bit. In my humble opinion, it did not deliver in the slightest. Anyways, yeah, time for something cooler. Koopa Cape had quite a few changes made to it this time around, some for better and some for worse. For starters, the track looks much better than it did in Tour, and the remix was authentic to the original song like I was hoping for. The half pipes in the tube section are now actually useful because they're the only way to reach the item boxes, and considering how late in the course this part is, some people are definitely going to want to lose a few seconds off their lap time to get these. The tube itself is now completely in anti-gravity, a change I actually enjoy because it's a pretty narrow section and anti-grav encourages aggressive driving, so things could get pretty hectic down there. They even added little Koopa themed spinners, which is a really cute touch. One change about the tube I don't like is that it seems like the half pipe no longer pushes you out of the water temporarily, which I think was a really neat detail in Tour. And while we're on the negative side, it really is a shame they left out quite a few of the Koopa signs scattered throughout the track. It really helped to bring the track to life back in Wii, and even 7 to an extent. But I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that this is among the most beloved tracks in the series for good reason, and that it'll still be a blast to play on regardless. And finally, there's Vancouver. Can't say I was expecting this one to end a cup. Back in the day, this used to be one of the most beloved tour cities, and the remake looks like it's doing a great job of continuing that legacy. It does look like they're going to be using the reverse version of Vancouver 2 here, which I'm not super big on, but considering they turned the cannon into a normal glider, I think it could end up flowing a bit better than the original. And to the surprise of absolutely no one, the wavy bridge part of Vancouver 1 has been made into anti-gravity. Cool. It's really weird to me that Vancouver is probably the most by-the-book city of the wave though. Still looks fantastic all things considered. And as for the new characters, like I said before, I think Wiggler in particular is really surprising, but I'm totally on board with it. What's even weirder is that they picked this wave to do 3 characters instead of in the final wave. Assuming there are only 2 left, I really hope they don't give us any more surprise picks and just go with Diddy Kong and Pauline. They've definitely waited long enough in my opinion. But yeah, I really love this wave. I'd say it's probably my second favorite wave after Wave 3 based on what's been shown off so far. But if Sunset Wilds' background does end up changing, then Wave 5 has a solid chance at taking my top spot. If I had to rank the tracks based on my excitement levels from most hype to least hype, it would go Athens, Cape, LA, Cruiser, Squeaky-Clean Sprint, Vancouver, Moonview, and then Wilds. If you like this video and want to stay up to date on all things Booster Course Pass, please consider liking and subscribing. It really goes a long way towards helping the channel grow. And feel free to let me know which Wave 5 tracks you're most excited for in the comments below. But with that, thank you all for watching and I'll see you next time.